What's up, guys? Your boy, 22K13. We're going to talk about 11 reasons why Kevin Owens is WWE best heels in years. And this comes from WhatCulture.com. WWE is pushing Kevin Owens to the moon. Since signing for the company 10 months ago, he won the NXT Championship, scored a clean victory over John Cena on pay-per-view, and picked fight with just about anyone in his way, including wrestlers and authority figures, and most recently a guest rapper. Despite all the love he received though, nobody's really kicking up a fuss about it. It's a far cry from the failed pushes that we've seen in recent years, namely that arrived back in 2012, or more recently the Roman Reigns debacle earlier on this year. And there's a very good reason for that. Kevin Owens isn't simply some jacked up dude, handpicked by the office to be the next big thing. Kevin Owens is a performer who has been perfect at his craft for more than a decade on the independent scene. As a result, and simply put, he's very, very good at what he does. In fact, he may be one of the best heels that the company has had in years. This article makes the case for that statement, as we run through some of the factors that add up to create arguably the greatest bad guy in the business today. Number 11, Twitter. Okay, we start with a fairly light-hearted entry, but it's a facet of Owens' gimmick that personally I think is brilliant. On Twitter, he an absolute grammar Nazi, and a self-confessed one at that. Anyone caught bad-mouthing Owens and doing so with innocent English is promptly called out by the NXT champion and reprimanded for their insufferable ignorance. Not even Alex Riley was immune from Owens' tough standard on spelling, but as well as pointing out his critics' grammatical shortcomings and spelling mishap, he pretty trigger happy with blocking people. Fans who attempt to reason with Owens tend to suffer such a fate, and in reality is rather entertaining. From a purely kayfabe perspective, though, that kind of nitpicking and pernickety behavior is certainly a dislikable trait that only further develops his heel persona. Number 10, fickle. Inside the ring, though, is where we really start to see his villainous side pervade, and that was never more apparent than when he debuted in NXT and turned on Sami Zayn. A friend for more than a decade, Zayn had pretty much grown up with Owens, but the latter had been able to disregard that in a flash, throwing any concept of loyalty right out the window as he attacked the newly crowned champion. Such fickleness was bad enough to bear witness to, but for Owens to be so remorseless and his double crossing only reinforced how bad this guy is. The plethora of powerbombs that he dishes out to Sami at NXT TakeOver Revival was at times pretty tough to watch. Only a true heel would be capable of turning their back on a friend so empathetically. Number 9, schematic. When Owens first turned on Zayn last year, powerbombing him in onto the apron, he knew exactly what he was doing in the long run. Owens was getting under Zayn's skin, and that could only lead to one eventually. Zayn was undoubtedly going to challenge Owens to a match, and while that match was initially granted on a non-title basis, there was still part of the plan to play out. Owens' hasty action had Zayn bayed for blood. This when Owens demanded the title be put on the line with the contract all but signed. Zayn was willing to do just about anything to get his hands on his betrayal. The result was that Owens had weaseled his way into a NXT Championship match less than 2 months after his debut. Opportunities and convenience, Owens had no problem using rather developed method to achieve the goal he had set. Number 8. Double standard. 4 months after scheming his way to a title shot against Zayn, Owens decided to flip the table. Faced with a challenge from Samoa Joe, Owens began to preach about a little something called the pecking order. Not only did he call Joe a rookie of NXT, technically true, but still rather insolent. He then explained how guys can just walk in here and get an NXT title match after one match. Those of sharper mind will of course recall that this is precisely what Owens did earlier in the year, and this for him to lecture Samoa Joe in this way was a terrible case of double standard. Luckily, William Regal arrived to address the situation, granting Joe a non-title match with Owens the following week on NXT. Still, the champ had managed to contradict his way out of defending his title, this negating any claim to being a fighting champion. Number 7. Disrespect. This one quite a common trait of any heel in pro wrestling, but few have gone to the kind of length that Owens had in displaying disrespect. And I'm not talking about the more subtle act of disrespect that he likes to weave into his game, such as when he hit and spat on a prone Sami Zayn before launching into a swanton bomb. I'm talking about the all-out unabashed disrespect that he so willingly demonstrated when he stamped on John Cena's United States Championship. Not only is that a slap in the face of John Cena, but it's a slap in the face of the United States, and even more significantly a slap in the face of all of the greats who hold the title over the years. Very few guys have managed to offend quite so many people with one simple action like Owens did. Top heel work. Number 6. Condescending. On top of that disrespect, Owens is also all too keen to condescend those around him, and in particular those who aren't even active wrestlers. Lately, it's been Rich, Brennan, and Brian Statton who've been on the receiving end of this, with Owens battling them at any opportunity during his regular excursion into commentary. But perhaps his most frequent target is Renee Young, who just so happened to be pretty much everyone's favorite backstage interviewer. Owens seemingly takes great pleasure in correcting Renee and basically telling her how to do her job. His petulant criticism of Renee's mask or his instinct of her using the microphone are just a couple of examples of this, and it makes him come across as a douche, to be honest. It's another very healing quality that he executes to perfection. Number 5. Insulting. But Owen also isn't afraid to cross the line from pettiness and condescension into downright insulting, as he displayed this past week on NXT. After genuinely stumbling on his words in a promo, he vented his frustration on Hideo Itami. Owen tried to divert the attention away from him, saying, "I'm stumbling over my words so much, I sound like Hideo trying to speak English." Props for thinking so quickly on his feet, but not for degrading a new face in the company who is clearly coming to terms with his new life in the States. Throwing such insult at Japan's biggest airport certainly isn't going to endear Owens to the arena of fans that he has to perform in front on next month when he defends his title against Finn Balor in Tokyo. Number 4. Brawler. For all those villainous personality traits though, sometimes it's something as simple as an in-ring style that can inform your audience of your intention. And although Owens is certainly capable of the spectacular as he proved on a number of occasions now, he doesn't call upon such flashy maneuver until he absolutely has to. Instead, his initial mode of offense tends to be based around a smash mouth, in-your-face brawling style. Furthermore, his entire appearance plays toward that stereotype. The scruffy vest, the taped wrist, Even the Fight Owens Fight mentor, this isn't a guy that wants to shame wrestle. This is a guy that wants to simply put a beating on you. That kind of style is yet another aspect of his character that lends itself to the bully stereotype. Number 3, selfish. But what makes Kevin Owens better than the majority of heels is that he's not your typical bully. He's actually rather more complex than that. He frequently tells us that everything he does is to provide a better life for his family, which on the one hand is incredibly selfless, but beyond the perimeter of his family, Owens is a rather more selfish individual. He said before that he doesn't care about any other WWE fans, and he proved that with certain psychological aspect that he scattered throughout his matches. For instance, when he defended his title in NXT, his first move is typically to flee to the outside of the ring. This is because he doesn't need to take the fight to his opponent to defend his NXT title. The challenger is the one who is required to take the fight to the champion. In exiting the ring, Owens is saying that he doesn't care about putting on a show for the crowd. He just wants to retain his title. And given the premises of sports entertainment, that's a fairly selfish approach. The dichotomy of striving to provide for his family certainly creates an interesting dynamic, though. Perhaps this selfish family man gimmick is a revolutionary new form of heel. Number 2, morality. Owen completely doesn't end there though, as he had a complete disregard for rules. On NXT a few weeks back, he headbutted young manager William Regal, while more recently on Monday Night Raw, he powerbombed special guest Machine Gun Kelly through a table off of the stage. Such unlawful action suggests that Owen doesn't really understand what's right or wrong, or perhaps he simply has no morals. But remember, he based his career on the drive to provide a better life for his family. So one explanation could be that Owen is actually well aware of what is right or wrong. He simply chose to flout laws wherever he chose because he's a reckless individual. Either way, that kind of attitude makes for a nasty piece of work, no matter how much of a family man he is. And number 1, booking. Finally, a complimentary factor, though by no means the biggest, has been the way in which Owens has been booked. The creative team deserves credit for the way in which they handled his storyline and allowed him to establish himself as a true, credible heel. For instance, when it was revealed that Sami Zayn and Hideo Itami would be out of action with shoulder injury, they didn't have to link those injuries to Kevin Owens like they have. They did though, although Itami's situation is a little less clear-cut, and that helped to put Owens as a truly monstrous heel and a guy that has no remorse for anyone around him. And what about the way in which he defeated Zayn for the title? Winning by having the referee stop the match is an incredibly rare storytelling technique and one that did Owens the world of good in his mega heel push. I'm not saying that it's all down to the booking of Owens, as he does most of the hard work himself, but I think the Booker certainly deserves credit for the way in which they handled Owens and allowed him to excel as a heel. If they continue in this vein, and more importantly, if Owens does too, then who knows what high the NXT champion can reach. I, for one, am certainly keen to find out the answer to that question. Well, that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.